Boston Bruins have multiple options remaining in this year's free agency, along with the signing of Jeremy Swayman. The Bruins may choose to go for a PTO, a professional tryout, for multiple players still available in free agency. So I'm going to talk about those options, as well as some more reports about Patrik Laine potentially being traded to the Boston Bruins and how things would work out if this does end up being the case. But before we get into all of this news that we have here today, we notice that 75% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. If you're looking for a spot to get all of your Boston Bruins news, you're in the right spot. Hit the sub button and join me here on this channel. We're covering everything that the Boston Bruins have to offer, and I'm your one-stop shop for everything the Bruins have to offer. So you're not going to want to miss anything, but let's get straight into our first topic here, which is the possibility of the Bruins signing a few players to a professional tryout. And we've seen this last season with Danton Heinen, and this absolutely worked out. And so this being fresh on the mind, as well as Don Sweeney saying that they want to bring in some more players to have that internal competitiveness go up. This could be a great option for the Bruins, as well as giving them more so of a freedom to test out a player rather than sign them straight up with the limited cap they will have with the signing of Jeremy Swayman still incoming, I guess we can say. At $8.6 million, they don't have too much cap space to work with outside of that contract, so they want to be sure what they're going to do makes sense and work. So I'm going to pull up a few options here on the younger side and the older side that the Bruins could pull out of a professional tryout and see how things work out to up that competitiveness, but also hope to get a potential Danton Heinen like last season from any of these players. And I think there are a few options here that will absolutely be able to make that list. So of the ones here, these are more of the younger side players. There's a few players here that I really do enjoy, and Kyler Yamamoto, Michael McLeod. I think two of those guys, both on the younger side, have a lot of potential still left in them, as well as having that possibility of working these guys into a future role with the Bruins rather than having them as more so of a rental. This could be a great no risk contract, no risk, invitation for both of those guys for the Boston Bruins. But there's also more players I do want to talk about here, like Jacob Vrana or Alexander Barabanov, two guys who are more of a veteran presence around a team like what would be the Bruins, where this Bruins teams are getting a bit younger as the seasons go on, but also having that skill still available. Those are more on the older side of things, not too old, but still, once again, have that available, freedom to see how they work out in this lineup rather than signing these guys who likely will make more than a minimum contract or less than $1 million. Give them that option to see how things work out. If they play very, very well, finally get a role into a team and working like that. So that's why the PTO, the professional tryout, I think is a very good option for the Boston Bruins at this point. I will pull up Don Sweeney's quote with what he had to say here. He goes, "I think we're trying to check off the boxes to be internally competitive. If we have a gap there, we want to see somebody take advantage of it. We've got sort of an internal growth mode, but we checked off a lot of boxes." That was regarding free agency with guys who we feel internally perceive that increase our competition. And he also goes on to say later on, I don't have the screenshot for this one, but the competitiveness on the inside and the outside. He wants players to come in to force other players currently on the Bruins that they're not given a spot. They need to work for this spot that they're going to have next season if they end up getting it. And that's where that professional tryout does certainly work out. And I will pull up these ones as well. These are more so the older players. But once again, I think with the way the Bruins are working now, they got a bit younger here the past, off season. These are a list of players that really could help on this 1 to 2 year term, especially off a professional tryout. One player we spoke about is Mike Hoffman. I think Mike Hoffman really has that potential that he could be the player we've seen before that Mike Hoffman could be. We know the past for him, the history. I'm not too big of a fan of his, him personally, but I can't deny his play on the ice could certainly thrive, especially with the Boston Bruins team that are looking for that little bit of scoring edge on the wing. So having him on that list could certainly be an option. Kylok Poso, another one, the Stanley Cup champion from last season. I think that he could also be a bit of an interesting signing. He would be not on my list as of, at the top of that, but I think I would see him fitting it well as a Pat Maroon style fit that what we had last season. Not that, style of Pat Maroon, but have that presence of being around a championship team, being around a lot of talented NHL players, and being able to work that into the Bruins organization and the Bruins system in the NHL that that leadership that he could possess. So I think those are fantastic options that we could see. And looking at the offense right now, there are a lot of spots that are filled up that we filled up in this offseason, but still a lot of options that could be filled internally, as well as having that competition coming from a professional tryout to make all of these guys really go to the limit in the preseason and in the beginning of the regular season to make sure they can solidify that spot for the beginning of the season and heading into another playoff run. But still, even if they do decide to go the professional tryout route and don't end up signing anybody, that still works out, still pushes the players currently on the roster to give it their all and try and make the lineup. So I think that the Bruins have an ample opportunity here. Whether they use it or not, that's out of my control, but I really see a lot of potential coming from this that could work out regardless of a new signing or not. Once again, also cheaper to be able to sign rather than just a straight up free agent. So there are many, many options, and we're going to see more of that now as the weeks go on. But let's head on to our second topic here. Thing that we're going to be seeing a lot more of is Patrik Laine. Could he be going to the Boston Bruins? A very, very interesting one here, and I gotta say, I gotta think about this a lot more than just this video. But Patrik Laine, who just came out of the player assistance program, now that he's cleared and been ready to play once again, has a lot of comments and stuff coming out about him about where this trade could happen if it does happen. He requested a trade out of Columbus. Columbus in a bit of a weird spot as well. Could be looking to get rid of him, and this really comes to mind for me from this Reddit post here from Puck Pulse. So should the Bruins trade for Patrik Laine? Looking at projected lines, I don't have much confidence in the secondary scoring options. Seeing that Columbus are trying to move on from Laine, do you think that it makes sense that the Bruins capitalize on his low market value and bring him in, with retained salary, of course, to maybe see a second line Marchand, Coyle on Laine, which I kind of like? And I gotta say, I do like that as well. And the secondary scoring on this team really has been a bit of a point of concern for me as well. Kind of looking at it, and that's what Don Sweeney also has said. That's why they're looking to go out and get that extra winger to add to the goal scoring. And that's not one thing that you really, really can find in free agency, a guy like Patrik Laine. And the market value is certainly low for him, but that means a lot of other teams are going to be kind of just checking in whether or not they're fully interested. That what's the status on him? How many teams are interested? Is the value still low because of what we've seen the past few seasons from him, as well as his cap? It's a lot of questions going to be asked about that, and I think the Bruins have some pretty big answers that they could answer from this, as that post said from Reddit. A retained salary, Patrik Laine, to add to that second line, to add to the goal scoring, and I will pull up the lines here once again. Putting him on that second line could absolutely be an option. Morgan Geekie, really not that second line winger that I think will work out. Could prove me wrong. Would be awesome if you prove me wrong, but still, I don't have that full confidence. So if we do see a Patrik Laine here on, realistically, what would be the second line? I can't see him on that first line. I see that first line here being our first line. I think it would work out very, very well. And what I'm going to say right now is, might not be what I'm thinking now a week's time, but looking at it now, feeling how I'm feeling about it before this video and during this video, I don't mind a Patrik Laine. Now, the big thing is, what we've mentioned, he's expensive. 8.7 for 2 more years. He could go 50%. It'd be tough for the Panthers, the Blue Jackets to go and do that. But if the price is right, if the retention is right, if the return that the Blue Jackets, want, it could be a very valuable trade. And the risk still could be there, but not as much as if he was making $8.7 million. So I want to know what you guys think about Patrik Laine. This is one that I've spoken about just a little bit, but now that things are cleared up for him, now that he's come off that the NHL assistance program, now that he's fully what's going to be likely ready for next season, and coming off an 18-game season with 9 points, he has a lot of stuff that could be open for him. 26 years old, still 6'5". We know the goal scorer he can be. It's just a matter of time and a matter of question. Will he be that player that we hope? Will he be on the Boston Bruins? Where will he end up, and how will he play next season? So I think it's a pretty tame one. I think the risk is there, but it's not too bad, as I mentioned. So, like I said, I want to know what you guys think about this one. This is one that don't come very often. You don't get this opportunity to get a guy like him. So what do you think? I want to know what you think about that, as well as the whole PTO situation. Do you think that could be an option for that other winger if a guy like Patrik Laine isn't in the cards? But, that's all I got here in this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button. But I'm signing out. I guess that's all I got. And thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.